I'm Eileen, 32-year-old housewife. My husband Sean and I celebrated our first wedding anniversary more than a month ago. So we are newlyweds. We dated for 10 years since we were so. After we got married, it didn't feel like anything had changed. We've heard stories about people who have been able to get rid of their acne by changing their diet, dating each other for too long but finally got married. I wondered if we'd end up the same. I'm not sure if I'm doing this right, but I'm trying to edit the following for spelling and grammar mistakes and worried about it. But on my birthday, my husband proposed to me. I immediately said yes, of course. I was very happy. Even while I was dating my husband, there were all sorts of problems, but I could tell that he finally caught on. So I was very relieved.
I think I and you'll be a little late today.
So I don't need dinner. Well then, take care.
We don't have children yet, of course, so after I send my husband off to work, I can spend my free time as much as I want. We think about having children and them, but on the other hand, I've always wanted to start my own business. Of course, I want children, but spending the rest of my life doing my own work is what I really want to do. In my free time, I do some research on the internet and read books. And then, of course, I read management books. And tell me about your favorite interior design style, because I quit my job when I got married. To have a husband who lets me spend a free time, I'm very grateful. My husband came home late that night, was in the bath.
I need to talk to you for a minute. Talk in the living room. Wanna
Talk? About what? I got out of the bath and went to my room. My husband was sitting on the couch, his suit for some reason.
Aren't you going to change?
No, I 11 get changed later.
I sat next to my husband on the couch.
I'm really sorry, but I 11 be straightforward with you. I want you to divorce me.
What?
I'm actually dating the president, and she said that she wanted to get married, so please divorce me.
It was sudden, so I didn't understand divorce. We've been married less than a month. And yet, just because he wanted to grant his girlfriend wish he's telling me to cancel our marriage, was stunned.
I'm just trying to get ahead. If I marry the president's daughter, definitely get ahead. So let's get a divorce.
In fact, my husband was a man who unfaithful to me for a long time. During the 10 years we've been together, we've been through a lot. We were both students when we met, and now we're both working professionals with successful careers. He had had over a dozen flings. It's just that I've been a bit busy. If I leave him alone for just a moment, he'll be cheating on me. He'd say that it's because he was feeling unloved. But no sooner than I'd tell him, he'd end the fling and then come back. My husband has always seemed to be with me, yet we've been together for 10 years. So when my husband proposed to me, I conveniently thought that he was to grow old with me, but apparently that was a mistake. I tried to hold back my tears, but they were streaming down my face.
Fine, but the alimony will be high no.
Of course, 11 pay you alimony. Amy also said,
Okay, I'll edit it.
okay, I'll get the payment ready for.
With that, my husband went out again. I was left there wondering what those 10 years of dating him in this marriage were all about. I couldn't stop crying. Divorce after just 1 month of marriage. Because if I had left him sooner, I didn't have to go out with him for 10 years. It would have been better if we had started earlier. I was already completely regretting such a husband like him. It's because the unfaithfulness I had was never going to be healed. He paid the fee in less than a week, so without delay. We divorced without any problems. As we parted, he laughed mockingly lightly. Do your best to... It really pissed me off. Only he could be happy and have a bright future. He seemed to feel pity for me for being alone. What a rotten guy, thought. See, husband's true nature. I moved out of the apartment we had been living in together for a long time and moved into a small one near the train station. I was told I could take as many goods as I wanted, so I brought almost everything. The move was completed, so I took a break at night alone with $10 million on. I decided to build a company Meanwhile, my ex-husband has remarried the daughter of the company president and his position at the company improved. But I was looking forward to the challenge. But then the incident happened. The company's accounting irregularities were discovered and the father-in-law was arrested. Pay a fine. My ex-husband was in a hurry because his position within the company was quickly deteriorating. He never thought that this would, hey, if he looks good for his father, he'll get promoted to a good position. Becoming president is not just a dream. That's what he dreamed about, but his father-in-law resigned. My ex-husband's backing at the company is gone. He had to resign. Thanks to this, it's even more boring than before. He was sent down to the lower department at headquarters. It's like a nice little island getaway. Nothing much to do all day. Just sitting in your seat looking at your phone with not much to do. He'd just be in the smoking room, smoking a cigarette. That's what became of his job. I then started an online store for design, which I had been thinking at long time. I was busy with various preparation, launch. I will start with small items and handle large furniture and other items. I started by coming up with a comparison of the two products. Then I did all sorts of miscellaneous setup for the company. Should I commission an e-commerce site? Do you want me to make it myself first? I also rented warehouses for suppliers and inventory and hired staff for shipping, designing the shipping boxes, etc. Anyway, there was plenty to do. I was rushing headlong towards start, business. My ex-husband was completely out of his mind. Meanwhile, on the other side of the presidential family, his father-in-law was arrested for accounting irregularities. So, aside from taking care of his niece, Eileen, he also had to take care of his mother and sister-in-law. After his father-in-law got out of prison, he moved in with them. He divorced his wife and moved out of the house. Actually, the president's family had a lot of debt. The mansion that my ex-husband had been living in was mortgaged, so they had nowhere else to stay. Although the presidents got caught by the police, couldn't go back to their former life. Since they'd lived a life of luxury since birth, it all led to debt. And even now, if they don't do something about it, then they'll be forced out of house. They think life will be the same as always been. That's why they all assume that my ex-husband will make it happen. The women in the president's family idea about the salary of a company employee who is relegated to a lower position, and yet they still tried to use my ex-husband at every turn.
Sean, can you tell me where the nearest department store is located?
Take you there? What in the world going to buy at the department store?
Huh. Oh, I wanted to buy Millie's clothes. I wish I could buy her some.
Millie, you don't need to buy dog at department store.
Sean couldn't help but flare up. Even though they were in such a dire situation, they didn't seem to understand that and still had the nerve to buy clothes for their dog at the department store.
What? Millie is part of the family?
Don't even understand that. What is Millie to us?
Is what his sister-in-law said.
What don't I understand? Instead, dog's clothes. We should worry about not losing this.
Oh, that's something you won't take, right? Besides, we can't do anything about it.
You'll do your best, right? We are counting on you.
So, could you please take me to the department store?
It was hard to talk to the women in President's family. Sean was alone, getting irritated, worrying all by himself, and his savings had quickly run out.
I got a call from my grandma today. It's about getting together again at our villa in Miami.
A villa? For free?
Huh. You mean, does it cost money? From what I've heard, it's in a high-rise in Miami. It was said that there was a villa that belonged to my grandfather-in-law, so she wants us to gather there. Of course, traveling's going to cost.
After Sean listened to his mother,
I want you to be patient and give trip this year.
he said. Then his mother-in-law said, ask him to come in.
What? Every year, all my relatives together at the villa? If we don't participate, people will. What had happened to us?
Do you understand our financial situation? There's a substantial amount of debt that needs to be cut down a bit.
You just can't make a living, can you?
His mother-in-law got angry and told relatives, including her own mother, about just how worthless he was.
Oh, come on. Enough already. Why don't you understand that I'm doing my best to manage things?
My ex-husband was really fed up. I don't really understand what's go. I, on the other hand, started with listing. The e-commerce store got off to a Jeep with lamps and other items like the drama that's currently airing, The Legend of the Blue Sea. Sales were increasing fairly well. I am also a certified interior designer by uploading various photos on social media, as well as starting a blog on interior design. We're attracting more custom. Anyway, we managed to create an online store that sells consistently. Although I struggle with it every day, I was living such a fulfilling life. I was starting to feel like divorcing my ex-husband was the right thing to do. Even before I got married, my ex-husband had been cheating on me for years. I started to feel like I was being bothered by it every day, which was a huge waste of time. If I were to live with him while uneasy, I'd rather just leave and do what I do like I'm doing now. I learned to be happy. I realized again that my ex-husband was a difficult person to deal with. At the end of the year, his new wife returned from a relative's funeral and, with an angry look, told him that her cousins teased her. The fact that they couldn't go to the villa due to debt and having to cut back on their lifestyle. The news of his death had spread among his relatives, and then
You've got no discernment to marry worthless man. Your father was forced to resign because of his dishonesty. The whole family don't use their eye.
what her unmarried cousin Sarah was making fun of her.
It's all your fault. Just what are? You're a man, and you can't even make a living. Before our marriage, you looked so mighty saying, "What are you trying to be successful at?" But what was that about?
That's not my fault. It's your family's fault for having like that when you were in debt in place. Even your father had to commit fraud, guys, because you needed money, right?
What's that? You say that like it's our fault.
It is. All you have to do is spend money wisely. And you have no idea how much money.
Amy had to endure some things. She always used to go to the theater with her friends, but had stopped doing that. They tried to buy as little clothing as possible. However, their frugality was still from that of the average person. They'd still buy some high-end beef at a department store. For them, when it comes to luxury, they would say, it can't be helped. And they'd keep buying.
I wish I'd never married you. We went to the trouble of paying 10 in alimony. It's really silly that I got a son worthless instead.
I'm not sure if not having money is of the world, but at some point in time, his mother-in-law and sister-in-law started blaming Sean for everything. It had been almost a year since Maya and I got divorced. My e-commerce store is making quite sales. I was thinking of strengthening I'm also learning more about SEO and getting more hands-on with my website. I'm also learning about marketing and attended seminars and other events. There was a marketer who taught at seminars whom I had befriended. He was 3 years older than me and published a book. We started going out a lot. Not only do we talk about marketing e-commerce, which is what I'm studying, but we also follow each other's sock accounts and talk a lot about AI. Other things, such as the photos we uploaded, we also have a section where you can add your own personal touch to your profile by adding a bio or description about yourself. I always have a very good time with. I was beginning to think if I could be with him forever. Then one day, my ex-husband came to my apartment. After more than a year of not seeing each other, he looked very skinny.
What on earth are you doing here at this time?
My ex-husband suddenly started crying down on his knees and started apologizing.
What the hell is wrong with you? I didn't even think about you anymore.
My ex-husband looked up, weeping.
Please help me. The president has been caught for accounting irregularities. So he resigned and left a mountain. And every day, I'm blamed by my wife and mother-in-law for being unworthy.
I don't know. We are strangers now.
I'm really sorry and I apologize it. I'll apologize for the rest of my pleas. Help me. Monique.
I can't. I can't. You have to leave.
My ex-husband seems to be trying to be even more persistent.
We've been together for 10 years. We're students.
I'm not a stranger, so please. You cheated on me over and over again those 10 years. What are you talking about?
I won't do it again. I promise I won't do it again. So, help me out. I have no savings. I'm in real trout. Have no one else to turn to.
And then he cries. I remember when we got divorced, the thing he said to me was,
You know, last time you told me to hang in there, didn't you? So I did my best. I started my own, and now I'm the president of my own company.
Yeah, it's great. You're so much better at what you do. I'm so sorry. Please help me.
my ex-husband, who mocked me when I was ill, has now been diagnosed with a chronic condition, was on his knees. I feel bad for him, but I was happy to think that I had won. Although it was humiliating at the used what he told me as fuel. I'm so proud of you, and I know how much work you put into this. You deserve it. Then the intercom rang. His wife and his sister-in-law were...
Well, it looks like they are here.
What the hell? Get rid of me already. I'm sick of this. I already requested a divorce. Try to understand. I won't come back anymore.
What are you talking about? You're who can't help it. Let's go home. You're our breadwinner. So we need work harder. Hey, let's go home.
Sean looked at me, wanting me to... But I, of course, pushed him away.
Now please leave. We are stranger. Please don't come here again.
Oh no, Eileen, please help me.
Amy was trying to pull him and take... I thought this would be the last time I'd see my ex-husband, so I said to him, "Do you do your best to..." Later on, I remarried to the man who was at the seminar. The business is doing well. 50 of our e-commerce is now coming from mobile devices. I don't know what my ex-husband has been doing since then. I sometimes wonder if my saying, "do your best to," had been of any use to him.